Hi everyone, I'm Malka Katzenstein. I am a wellness coach. I don't know why it never, I'm always uncomfortable starting a live because I get on and then there's no one here and I feel like I should wait and then there are awkward pauses and then when I watch it later, I just feel weird, and I think it's important to share that because first of all, it makes me feel better to just say like, okay, I'm being awkward because I look awkward because I actually feel awkward, and hopefully that will normalize it for other people. Okay, so now that I've gotten that out of the way, hopefully we'll all be more comfortable now. So the topic tonight is dating and self-esteem. And the reason that I chose to talk about this is because I've seen and heard a lot of things from people, from clients, from friends, from just people sharing with me, and just from like being around and observing how dating is, when you're dating, you're very vulnerable. And I've seen how it affects people and how it makes them feel about themselves. And I think that there's so many things to talk about in regards to dating, and I hope to kind of make this a series, and I have another talk planned for next week on this, and I'm going to ask if anybody has something specific that they'd like addressed. Please let me know. You can message me, you can message OKclarity, and they'll pass it on. And even tonight, if there's time, if you have questions, please put them in there, and if I have time, I'll try to get to them, or comments or something you want me to mention. But tonight, it's about dating and self-esteem, because I've seen how people can come to feel bad about themselves and how self-esteem can take a toll from dating. And, not that it has to, and not that, it's understandable, but it doesn't have to be that way. Dating is vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there and you're kind of relying on feedback from other people. And whether it's, it doesn't matter how you're doing it, if you're dating like from apps, you're going to singles events and meeting people, or if you're being set up by friends, or you're doing, working in the shidduch system and you're talking to shadchanim, and all of those kind of things put you in a situation where, like I said, you might feel like you're being judged by other people, and to a certain extent you are, and let's not sugarcoat that. You kind of are subjected to other people's judgment, and it's understandable that, people will have their self-esteem affected by that, but it doesn't have to be that way, which is what I want to talk about, ways that we can work on our self-esteem, and this applies to everybody. This topic happens to be about dating and self-esteem, but self-esteem, I know I spoke about it a few weeks ago, but it's always helpful to review it. It's always helpful to learn more about it and get some more tips. And, if you're dating, or if you have a child who's dating, or if you are someone, you're a matchmaker, you're a shotgun, you're somebody who likes to set people up, or just having an understanding of this and how things can affect people, let's try and work with that. We can't always change the situation, but we can work with how we conduct ourselves and how we manage ourselves and our feelings within it. So that's what I wanted to talk about. So, when you're dating and you're putting yourself out there, it can feel like you're being judged by other people, which, like I said, to a certain extent you are. And it can feel like, these are the people who have the say-so over who you are and what you are and what's good about you and what's not good about you. And and that doesn't feel good. And also, getting, which I think could be another topic to talk about, rejection, maybe you're not getting set up as often as you'd like to, or maybe someone declined to meet you, or you were dating for a while and then someone broke up with you. And so, those things might hurt. And it's important to make a distinction between feeling hurt and also having that define you. So not having it define you is a way to, that's having healthy self-esteem is a way to not let that. It's sort of like armor to not let that define you. So that's kind of, self-esteem, having healthy self-esteem is a tool for not getting hurt, not getting knocked down by something that, very understandably could. So we're talking about being having healthy self-esteem and being confident in yourself and having, knowing who you are and being emotionally resilient. So I know, and when I say that, okay, if other people don't appreciate you, then don't let them. Who cares what people say? No, it's so easy to say that. And I feel like I acknowledge that almost every time when I talk about, topics and things that we can do. But it requires practice. So I will acknowledge that. And it requires practice, and it requires, building up some emotional resilience so that you can navigate it. So let's first of all say that, dating is, it requires a lot of strength, and it's a very brave thing to put yourself out there. And it simply, specifically because it opens you up to being hurt. And also because, but people go through it because, people want to be, have a partner and find somebody. And so that's kind of like, the price you pay, like the chance that you will find somebody and the chance that you can be hurt. And, learning how to deal with hurt feelings is something that can go a long way to help. So working on self-esteem at any time, and especially at this, in a stage of life where you're dating, and, that can be something that really makes you feel vulnerable. Working on your self-esteem it's important. Having healthy self-esteem is important for just being, a healthy and happy person. And this will serve you well in all of your relationships and, in everything you go on to do, and, help you make better decisions in life in general, because you will feel, sense of self-worth. It's important to know that not to rely on other people to make you feel good about yourself. If you do that, you open yourself to allowing other people, giving other people the power to make you feel bad about yourself. People have opinions and they will share them, and it doesn't have to define you. Also knowing, with dating, if somebody, I think I started to say this and then I kind of got off on a tangent with something else. If you're, like I said, if you're not getting set up as often as you'd like to, or someone says something negative to you, or someone turns you down, or any of those kind of things, it can feel like they're saying the message that they're sending you, or maybe the message that you're getting is there's something wrong with you, or you're not good enough, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not accomplished enough. However, each of us are going to kind of, we'll let our own insecurities and our own vulnerabilities sort of define that. So that's a message on them. And I know people say it's not you, it's them, but it's really true, because if somebody says, it's true always, but if somebody is not interested in meeting you or continuing to date you, they're just saying you're not the right person for them. And that's not, that's not a judgment call on you. So that can be helpful to remember that, I think. Also, even when you find somebody, you will still be yourself. So, and it's important to still be yourself, even when you're part of a couple, even when you're part of a unit. So learning how to be secure and comfortable with yourself is not only a good way to, help you not get hurt and to not have your self-esteem suffer, but it's also, it makes you a better partner. It makes you a better friend. If you can be somebody, your own person, you're not dependent on anybody else to, like I said, to make you feel good or bad about yourself. That also frees up the other person to, look at you and it's like you are a whole person. We're not talking about freeing up the other person. We're talking about you. Sorry about if that got confusing. But, if you're not relying on other people to make you feel good or bad about yourself, you have the freedom to figure out what that means for you. And again, that makes you a healthier person, which makes you a better friend and a better partner. And also, while you, even as part of a couple, even as half of a couple, it's important to still maintain your own identity and to know who you are. And if you go into a relationship with less than healthy self-esteem, it's easy to kind of get swallowed up by the relationship or get swallowed up by the other person. So those are reasons to work on self-esteem And, when you're, wanting to be in a relationship. Here are some things to keep in mind. Know your worth, know who you are. Recognize your strengths, your values, who you are as a person, and acknowledge that. And, sometimes that requires some work. You can get some feedback. You can ask people. I mean, it might, if you're comfortable asking people what they admire about you, go for that, because, even though I said that it's not a good idea to rely on other people to make you feel good about yourself, some, external feedback is, compliments are always nice. And, and good friends do that for each other. So if but also it's important to figure it out for yourself. So you can spend some time thinking about what do you admire about yourself? What are you good at? What are your talents? What are your, what do you like to do? Which, it's just knowing who you are as a whole person is very important to understand that you have value. Self-acceptance, nobody is perfect, and we're not always going to be happy with ourselves. So accept yourself, everything, the good, the bad, the things that your strengths, and just being able to be comfortable with, negative also is a good way to build healthy self-esteem. Self-compassion. Self-compassion is so important for healthy self-esteem because you won't beat up on yourself. You won't see yourself as a failure if something doesn't go the way you wanted it to, or if somebody said something to you that you didn't like to hear. You can kind of give yourself comfort. You won't need to let that take over. People say with self-compassion that, we're so quick to, it's so easy for so many of us to help a friend. If a friend is not feeling good, if a friend is going through a hard time or needs some, confidence building, or, friend needs some support. So for many of us, it's so easy to support a friend. And when we need some self-compassion and we need some support, we're so quick to beat ourselves up and think about what we did wrong and what's terrible about ourselves. And, so easy to go down that road. But if we stop, and this also can be a thing that we practice all the time, and it becomes easier, it becomes, kind of like muscles that you use. But if you catch yourself feeling bad, you had a bad date, or somebody said something nasty to you, or somebody criticized you, or said something about the way you looked or the way you dressed, or, anything like that. What would you say to a friend who was sharing that with you and not feeling good about that? So give that to yourself. And if you have friends who are supportive, then, share that with them too, because, support is always good, but it's important to be able to rely on ourselves also to support ourselves. So, also just know that, self-esteem doesn't come from other people. If you can focus on internal validation, if you can focus on self-assurance, then you will build some resilience to negative comments from other people and negative feedback from other people. And also know that, sometimes people will say things, and sometimes situations are not great. But if we're strong and we're resilient, then we can get through that. It's okay. It's okay to, be sad sometimes. It's part of being human. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel disappointed. It doesn't feel good, but, doesn't kill people, and hopefully doesn't destroy people if we know that it's okay to feel like that. And also remember that it's temporary. And then, take care of yourself. Do the things that you like to do. Don't just not relying on other people to make you feel good about yourself. Don't rely on other situations to make you feel good about yourself. Do what you like to do. Do the things that make you you. And if you're not sure what those things are, well, that's a whole project to explore. And also something to remember, that if you're not sure what makes you tick and what you like, and how to have your boundaries, and how to stick up for yourself, and how to express yourself, then how are you ready to be in a relationship? you will bring your best self into a relationship when you can be your own independent person and not rely on other people to give that to you. So learn who you are, and it's and do the things that are interesting to you. And if someone tells you, oh, you probably shouldn't do, I don't know, XYZ activity or wear that type of clothing because guys don't like it. I mean, I'm assuming I'm speaking to women, or if they tell you, whatever it is that people are telling you about that, well, maybe that's how that person feels about it. But if this is something that you feel strongly about, then that's you, and learn more about it. Be with people, always when we talk about mental health and feeling good about yourself, find the things that bring you joy, find the things that make you feel excited and alive. And then we talk about how social activity is so important for that. Join a group, take a class, do things like that so that you can be with people who share similar interests and help you build your interests and learn about yourself, self-expression, art, that kind of thing. Always something good to explore. First of all, it's a creative outlet, and it's a good way to learn about yourself, and learning about yourself is a good way to learn to feel good about yourself and build up your self-confidence. Positive self-talk. It's so, like I said before, we're so easy to beat up on ourselves, and also so easy to talk to ourselves negatively. And, for many people, that's just default. And, positive self-talk and self-esteem is not the opposite of humility. It's, and that's a very common misconception, that if you are, you feel proud of yourself, you love yourself, you admire yourself, that, well, then, you're arrogant. It's not the same thing. And it's important to feel a sense of pride in yourself. And if, and one way to do that is to actually, focus on your strengths and talk to yourself about them. I know it sounds weird and some people think it's great. So try talking to yourself in the mirror, give yourself a little pep talk about the things that you love about yourself, or you can journal about it, and you can, come up with affirmations, or you can even buy journals that have, either prompts, or that there's a positive quote every day, and that can really be helpful. And just, or you could put notes. Different things work for different people. Figure out what works for you. Get ideas from all over the place, but try to look at yourself in a positive way, and learn from your experiences. Positive and negative. That's another way to learn about yourself and learn about what works for you and what doesn't work for you. If you have, a good date, well, think about, what was good about that? And how did that make you feel? And why did that make you feel good? And why, what could, and if you have a bad date or a bad dating experience, it's okay to feel bad and give yourself time to mourn or grieve if you need to. And then use it as, when you're ready, use it as an opportunity also for growth and for learning. Look back on that and think, well, why didn't that go the way I wanted it to? What wasn't so great over there? What could be better next time? And not in a way like, oh, I wish I would have done that, but in more of a oh, what was that? What was good? What was not good? And, the not good things, again, don't beat up on yourself about them, and don't go back if only. Just say okay, well, for next time, I am not going to answer that way. For next time, I will show up this way because that works for me. Self-awareness is a very important component of healthy self-esteem, and it comes with practice. I mean, for some people, it's just really easy, but if we're not used to thinking about ourselves, and especially if we don't have such great self-esteem, we're kind of being told what we think, what we should do, what we, self-awareness is sort of like the counter to that. Take some time and think about how you really feel, and know that, what other people say, somebody told me one of the best, let me finish the sentence. What other people say, it's really them. Sometimes it's okay to get some feedback. And that's sort of like the balance between, letting other people kind of control you or take you over, and having no self-esteem, letting that be the thing that overpowers. But there's a balance, of maybe getting some feedback. Of course, not to compromise who you are, but sometimes you want some feedback on what could have gone wrong or gone differently, and, again, use it to learn. And what I wanted to share is that somebody once told me this great line: what other people think of me is none of my business. And I don't know, I loved it, because I think, like I said before, often what people think, it's a reflection on them. And all too often, people are so quick to say hurtful things to other people. And, I will say, it's not always intentional. Sometimes people say things that they mean well, and they don't realize how it sounds. They don't realize how it comes out, and they don't realize that maybe in certain situations that's not the right thing to say. Which is, what kind of compelled me to address this topic, because I've heard the things that people say. And people have told me things that people have said to them. And I see this, so often in so many different ways. And it kind of, it breaks my heart. It really hurts me how, being in the stage of life of dating can really, really sort of mess with self-esteem, and it shouldn't, it's just, like I said, dating is just a vulnerable thing, but also there are people who say things that they shouldn't and do things that they shouldn't, and don't respect other people. And that, like I said, that's on them. And just because people are doing that does not mean that we have to go along with it. And all we can do is take care of ourselves. And this is what I wanted to talk about. And I hope that this was helpful. I kind of feel like I'm not sure if I went off on a tangent, because I think that there's just so much to say on this. And the main takeaway from it is that we need to build our own resilience. We need to work on our own self-esteem so that we can withstand the challenges of dating, because it can be challenging. And if we are vulnerable to, our self-esteem is vulnerable, it can be so easy to just have it break down, or just have it kind of like crumble even more. And building self-esteem while you are dating, while you're in this vulnerable stage, is also so helpful for life in general, and for all relationships. And to sum up, the ways to do that is to learn about yourself, to learn about what makes you you, and to be proud of your strengths and your accomplishments, to follow your interests, to continue to learn about yourself and grow with that, and to develop whatever it is that you would like to within yourself, because it's important to you. And to, also I think it's important to say that sometimes when people say things that are hurtful, I think I kind of did say it, but, not always do they, they often don't, they don't mean to be hurtful, and just really don't know. And something to try. Here's an idea I'm going to throw out there. It's totally okay to tell somebody, in a nice way and respectfully, you hurt my feelings when you said that. I wish, you hadn't said that, or you hadn't said it that way. And if this is a person who is in a position to be speaking like this to other people, it could even be helpful to say, I don't think that a lot of people would appreciate being told that. That's a boundary, and which is also really important for self-esteem and for good mental health. And so I will be talking next week on this topic, similar, dating and self-confidence, which I think self-esteem and self-confidence are very closely related. And then I have a few other things that I think related to dating I think would be really good to talk about. But if, because I think that this is so important. And so the last thing I want to say on this is, if it's really taking a toll on you, if you're really feeling hurt and you really feel like you're having a hard time finding yourself because of so much negativity that's being, you feel negativity being thrown on you or that you're seeing, try these things that I'm talking about. Try to kind of like take them to heart. And if you're really having a hard time, it's never a bad idea to talk to somebody, whether you want to work with a coach or a therapist, or even just a good friend who can be supportive and give you some feedback. You don't have to, the work on ourselves is on us, but there are always people to help us with that. So that's important to know. And again, like I said, I will be talking about this more because I think it's important, and I really, really want to be helpful about this. So please let me know, either DM me or email or DM OKclarity. Let them know any specific topics that you'd like to hear about, or any specific issues in this topic that you'd like me to address. I would love to hear what people want to hear about and what I can help with. So thank you everybody for being here and for listening, and have a good night.